One afternoon, while I was listening to a really soothing ASMR video on YouTube, a thumbnail caught my attention. The Citadel, the first Gooner shooter by Zombie Hobo 49. Gooner shooter. Intrigued, I clicked on the video.
The Citadel is a revolutionary first-person shooter that is meant to be played with one hand.
Okay.
Strange mix of hyper-violent action,
Sounds cool.
niche internet fetishes.
I need to play this game. I finished the video, played the demo, then bought the full game 2 days later, and let me tell you, the Citadel is fast movement, adrenaline pumping action, blood and guts going everywhere, platforming, double jumping over shit, dodging bullets whizzing past, cool weapons with realistic projectile velocity and bullet drop, snipe this guy with a 50 cal whale gun, melt that dude with a laser, obliterate soldiers with a shock hammer, burn these guys alive with a flamethrower. Call in an airstrike with a laser designator, kick enemies off a ledge, drop kick these glass panels cause fuck public property, air out entire rooms with C4 explosives, grab a badass minigun and shoot everything in sight, use a Panzerfaust or commander to blow up tanks and robots, plow through levels in a cool ass mech, overdose on O2 canisters and enter bullet time like you're in Super Hot, unlock weapon upgrades from a cute merchant, with 6 boss fights and a sleeping god to take down. Oh, and let's not forget the most important part, a hot anime woman as the protagonist. Oh yeah, this game is good. The Citadel was developed by one Japanese dude named Doi Kuromori and published by Top Hat Studios in August 2020. It draws heavy inspiration from boomer shooters of the 90s like these guys. I've never played them since I wasn't alive when they came out, but it doesn't take a genius to see the visual similarities at least. See? Gun in the center. The screen flashes when you pick up items. And the ugly ass textures. The only difference is that in Wolfenstein 3D, you kill Hitler. But in this game, you kill an evil fetus. And I mean, that fetus could be baby Hitler, you don't know. The Citadel was actually my first boomer shooter-esque game. I hadn't played Dusk or Ultra Kill before, so I had no idea what I was getting into. But to my surprise, I had a blast. The game is pretty short though. I'm not exactly the best at shooters, but it only took me about 4 hours to beat it on normal difficulty. The game looks very ugly. The textures are ugly, but that made it feel spooky and sinister to me. I was wondering what happened here. Why is everyone trying to kill me? In the far future, the Earth has stopped rotating, trapping humanity into an eternal dusk. Step into the daylight and you'll be burnt to a crisp. Wander into the night and the cold will consume you. Facing extinction, the remaining humans mechanize their own bodies in order to survive. God and his angels had forsaken them a long time ago, a secret that humanity doesn't know. However, strange beings that arose from the earth took it upon themselves to save what was left of humanity. Taking on the role as angels, they created a new god in wait, don't click off the video. Alright, look, there's a sleeping god who turned these fake angels and everyone else insane, and as the martyr, the chick with the really big thighs, it's our mission to kill them. That's about it. I think the dev was more focused on the core gameplay than developing the lore, which I mean, that's why I'm playing. For the gameplay. And the boobies as well. There's 30 levels spread across 6 episodes or acts. Each level will have you fighting in a plethora of environments against enemies such as priests, jihad explodey dudes, soldiers with machine guns, heavily armored flamers, drones, tanks, and mechs. On most levels, you need to find keycards or buttons in order to proceed to the next level. At the end of each act, you'll fight one of the 7 angels that act like a bullet hell boss. They're not really hard, except for the first boss because I was still getting used to the game. Anyways, you need to put on your big boy pants for this game because every time you die, you have to restart the level completely. Unless you activate these things, but you need an extra life to actually use it, and you have to find them somewhere on each level. There's also no objective markers and no arrow pointing where you have to go, so it took me a hot minute just to find where to go next in a level. You also have health, stamina, hunger. Hunger's kinda cool because it determines the max value of your health and stamina. Blood bags are your medkits, and you'll be needing them a lot. All the enemies in this game pack a punch and you can die very quickly if you're not careful. Running, jumping, kicking, and swinging all take stamina, so you gotta top it up with O2 canisters. By the way, there's a lot of platforming in the game, especially in the later levels. Since you cover so much ground by sprint jumping, I developed the zoomies and imagined myself in a Foon bunny hop video. And because of this, I fell to my death so many times, whether it was in a pit of lava or falling into the void. Anyways, there's Taicho, a merchant who sells you supplies, different types of ammo, weapon upgrades, and armor. You can find her on every level, hanging out in a random room, tucked away in some crevice, or chilling in the hub. The hub is where you can take a breather in between chapters and chat with Lysander, who honestly looks like a segue. He's the one who gives you most of the exposition for the lore, and yes, he. I honestly thought Lysander was a girl at first, and turns out, Taicho is also a dude. Both of them, dudes. I got made! And here's the crazy part. According to a little birdie on YouTube, Taicho canonically impregnates the martyr. And I mean, you got to respect his game because shit, she's fine as hell. Anyways, let's talk about... There's a lot of weapons in the game, and a lot of them have secondary firing modes or ammunition types, like slug rounds, energy lasers, and a grenade launcher. When you first start out though, you get the axe and the 44 Magnum pistol. The axe, called the Forgiver, cool ass name by the way, is the only melee in the game. It was fun to use in the beginning, but it becomes obsolete in the later chapters. Now the 44 Magnum, ooh, I fucking hate it. It sucks ass. It's awful. I see you rushing into the comments saying it's really good if you hit your headshots. No, I don't care about that. Also, I suck at aiming. But the main reason why I hate it is because you have to manually reload each bullet by mashing the R button. This also applies to shotguns. I don't like manually reloading because when I'm in a bad spot, I panic and piss my pants. Very necessary information. Fortunately, you unlock other weapons as you go, like the machine gun, blunderbuss, SMG, and whale gun. They're all pretty fucking fun to use, but the best one out of all of them would be the chain gun. Oh yeah, this was my main weapon for the entire game. The chain gun absolutely eviscerates enemies. I fucking love it because there's two firing modes, full auto and fuller auto. And with 100 rounds, I just hold down left mouse button and clear out entire rooms. You can also buy a 200 round magazine upgrade for it in the merchant shop. And better yet, it has a flamethrower as its secondary. I used it to kill pretty much every angel and enemy, except the big ass robots and tanks. And here's a little secret. Don't tell anyone I told you this, but there's a hidden level in Act 6 that gives you an unlimited magazine upgrade for the chain gun, and a bonus special weapon that turns enemies into that dried up alien meme. The gore in this game is absolutely insane. When you kill enemies, they leave behind body parts, or as the developer calls it, gibs. Intestines, spines, rib cages, arms, and legs scattered everywhere, with missing torsos or spilled guts. Straight up hyper gore, man. I ain't a psychopath, but this gift system is pretty cool. It gives a real sense of power to the weapons, and the fact that enemies aren't bullet sponges makes the gunplay even more fun. I felt this the most when using the shock hammer, aka the war crime. You can really feel the weight of the gun every time you kill enemies with it. And thanks to the fast movement and quick time to kill, the game creates this incredible flow where you just slip into autopilot, clearing out rooms of enemies with just muscle memory. Of course, you could take the opposite approach and play more methodically. The game lets you lean around corners and has an option to turn on gun jams, which slows down the pace of combat, but I find that shit boring. I want to play like I'm on Adderall, chewing ass and kick bubblegum. Okay, look, I've been gassing up the Citadel so far, but it does have its... Many of the YouTube reviews on this game listed the same recurring issues that I had. Stuttering, frame drops, and sudden crashes. And yeah, the game looks like a retro shooter with shitty textures. I have a decent GPU. Why did I constantly get frame drops and stutters? I also had smaller issues like the weapon wheel being bugged, but that's about it. However, none of these issues detracted from my enjoyment of the game. And I'm not really that mad because the Citadel was literally the dev's first game that he made by himself. So I didn't have high expectations going into it. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention something. You remember the beginning of that video I showed you?
Hyper-violent action and niche internet fetishes.
And the segment where I talked about the Gibbs system. You may have observed something interesting about these pixel sprites. Underneath their helmets and masks, they're anime women in a grotesque state. And because of this, the game may have gotten some... For context, I decided to do a little bit of investigating on the game before I bought it. I found an article by Niche Gamer, published in November of 2020, in which they interviewed Doi Kuromori and publisher Top Hat Studios. According to the article, when the Citadel released in August of that same year, a YouTube review on the game called the developer a dangerous individual, accusing him for making obscene depictions of gore. Apparently, that remark was supposed to be a one-off comment, with no intention to incite anything. But knowing the internet, people watched the review of the game and were outraged by the hyper-violent gore. Doi Kuromori started to get harassed online with abusive comments labeling him as a gore fetish artist. Who were the main culprits? Probably these guys. The harassment got so bad, he had to withdraw from the community and even considered censoring the entire game just for the targeting to stop. And throughout my investigation, I also noticed that everyone online was calling the Citadel a Guro game. The Steam reviews, Twitter posts, most of the YouTube videos I watched, and their comment sections echoed the same thing. Now, you might be wondering, what the hell is Guro exactly? According to Wikipedia, Eroguro is an artistic genre that puts its focus on eroticism, sexual corruption, and decadence. As a term, it is used to denote something that is both erotic and grotesque. Items that are pornographic and bloody are not necessarily eroguro, and vice versa. So apparently, what I'm getting at is that eroguro was a common element in Japanese horror films of the late 60s and 70s, and was intended to evoke more horror than arousal. But within the realm of internet porn fetishes, eroguro is some fucked up hentai with penis, vagina, blood, and limbs missing. Ah! So, is the game really what people make it out to be? Well, after playing through the entire game, I've come to this conclusion. Fuck no! No, 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 no! I already had my doubts on what people were saying about it, and after playing, I was right! This game is not eroguro. Shoot me! I mean, it's definitely Guro in the fact it's extremely gory, which makes sense because it's as if the game is inspired by some of the most violent first-person shooters of their time, but I am 100% certain it's not a fetish game. Why am I so certain? Because to give my statements some credibility, I dug deeper. I visited a certain website that starts with N and ends with I. I read 3, count 'em 3, doujinshis with the eroguro tag. And let me tell you, I was traumatized. I sacrificed my mental well-being for this video just to prove you motherfuckers wrong. But now, I can confidently say the Citadel is not eroguro. Not by a long shot. I think the whole Guro fetish label is because the game has an anime art style. And since Japan is notorious on the internet for its abundance of niche subgenres of hentai, people just came up with this conclusion. It's an FPS with hyper-gore and violence. Yes, but the enemies are cute anime women, correct? And the developer is Japanese. Wait, what are you getting at? So, it must be some sort of sick fetish. No, wait. Outrageous! Thus, people took up arms and went on Twitter. In the same interview with Niche Gamer, Doi Kuromori rejected these accusations, stating he's not a Guro artist, and the Citadel is not eroguro. And I genuinely believe him. I really do think he had no intention to make the Citadel appeal to that weird shit. Doi Kuromori just wanted to encapsulate the gore and hyper-violence of retro shooters through his own art style, which just happens to be anime. And his publisher pretty much stated the same thing, that the game is not eroguro but a homage to retro ultra-violent classic shooters. And it was just made by a Japanese dude interpreting it through Japanese-style art that he draws as a Japanese artist. That's it. Why is it so hard to understand? It's just a boomer shooter that's very gory because the dev likes those type of games. There shouldn't be any other connection just because it's Japanese. There's nothing erotic about the gore system. I honestly think if the game was made by a Western developer in a Western art style with the gore and gib system unchanged, people would be less mad about it, or there would have been no outrage at all. It is literally that one meme, thing anywhere else, think Japan. Because it has an anime style, people automatically assume it's some sort of fetish game. Also, I have a question. Why are people disturbed at the gore? It's a fucking
Round 1.
Later in the article, Niche Gamer asked what was the intended player reaction Doi Kuromori was looking for when they saw dead enemies. And he literally just said nothing. Which is fucking based. Since the enemies in the game want to kill you, you simply kill them. All you should feel is the recoil. Like you don't feel bad for killing demons in Doom or Russians in Call of Duty. So why should I feel disturbed at killing enemies in this game? Just because they're anime women? No! You may not know me, but I am very retarded. But not that retarded. The game is not deep. I played it for the gunplay, and it gave me a lot of happy chemicals in my autistic brain. Look, I won't deny that the game still has some fan service, like the martyr's entire design is Gooner bait. And the fact that every enemy in the game looks like a woman is still very confusing to me. But, apparently it was a lore choice inspired by H.G. Wells' Time Machine. So just go with that, okay? it's inevitable that the game would attract weirdos who are actually into Eroguro, but that was never Doi Kuromori's intention. He's just a dude who likes Doom and wanted to make a hyper-violent boomer shooter that was fun for fans of the genre, whilst incorporating a ton of media that he found cool from the 80s and 90s. Anyways, this video is probably getting really long, but I have one more thing to say. Harassment is... I do not condone online harassment at all, regardless of context. Harassing someone online over something they made is pathetic and stupid, and these type of people need to go outside more often. It's the same shit with the artists who got harassed on Twitter just because they made Gooner fan art of Anya for mouthwashing. The harassment was so bad that even the main developer was sick of it and called out their toxic fans. I'll tell you what normal people do. They see something they don't like, they get offended, and then they press the block button and move on. That's it. However, these guys act like the artist or dev shot their dog or something. It's so dumb. Like I mentioned before, Doi Kuromori was considering censoring the game by removing the goal and give system entirely, just so people would stop harassing him. Fortunately, he didn't go through with that in the end, and instead made it an optional setting. And it would have been sad if he went through with it just because people misunderstood his intentions. Look, if you don't like gore in video games, that's fine. A lot of people don't. But don't go out of your way to harass an artist solely because their work is something you hate. Anyways, I've been yapping on about a controversy from about 5 years ago. The Citadel is a very fun game, and I heard that its sequel, Beyond the Citadel, which was released this month, is even better. And from what I've seen, it really shows how much Doi Kuromori has grown as a developer over the years. He also has a Twitter where he drops more lore for the game, and reposts some very spicy fan art of the martyr. But there's some other unrelated artwork that I can't defend, dog. Dude, I'm trying to vouch for you, man. I want the people to know you're a chill guy. I like inflation ponu. Dude, no! Anyways, I'm glad Doi Kuromori never gave up, and I'm definitely going to play Beyond the Citadel next. If you don't agree with anything I said in this video and hate my guts, suck my balls. But if you want to have a mature conversation about the game, leave a comment. I like having discussions.